Hey there, everyone. This is the Idiot Movie Podcast with your host, the indestructible Deadeye, and his handsome and sexy co-host, Mr. Christopher Baird. How are you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good.
Shut the fuck up! Today we're watching... Okay, right, so this film was your choice for this inaugural outing. So why don't you explain to the good people the derangement you just put me through here?
Well, generic movie title, or Ricochet,
it's a biopic about the legendary musician Rico Chez.
Ricochet.
Or Ricochet.
Ricochet.
Ricochet, yeah.
Yes.
He's a great sort of Latin musician.
Suave Lefario.
Yeah.
Like all Spanish people are.
Yeah, until he was killed by Ricky Martin.
Yeah,
back in the late 90s.
Back in the Latin pop wars. It's a hell of a time.
I know. It was just those two guys as well. it was just them. Like, anyways, back to this other movie, Ricochet.
Yes, we have Nick Stiles, played by Denzel Washington. Basically this is like an early 90s movie, so it's just about just every action film is about cops. Every action film involves cops, the president. I don't know. It's mainly those two things.
Every action film was directed by Wolfgang Peterson.
It does become a Wolfgang.
It was just the decade of Wolfgang Peterson.
Yeah, just because he made two president movies, and therefore everybody copied that.
They start off having a basketball match with Ice-T and some guys from the Hood.
Yeah.
You know, and you know that the film's going to be good if it has Ice-T as a black gangster in it.
Yeah, it's always fun.
You know, it's just always and the thing is, you can barely understand anything he says throughout the entire film. He's like, shit, man.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
It's always know what I'm saying.
And then afterwards, they end up at a carnival where Denzel Washington and Kevin Pollak are rookie cops. Nearby this carnival, there's this fucking what appears to be some kind of abandoned building where drug deals take place, which I assume are just kind of dotted at random around LA. You know, they're just there. It's like, right, don't go to that place. There's a
deal going down there. You don't want to go there.
There's a deal going down there right next to a children's play park. You know, but point being, right, there's a deal going down or something like that. It's genetic gangster bullshit. And then John Lithgow shows up.
Earl Talbot Grey?
Blake. Earl Talbot Blake.
Yeah.
And you know he's evil because he has a triple-barrel name. You know, it's Earl Talbot Blake.
He's Japanese.
Japanese.
That's when a Japanese gangster shows up, which doesn't happen.
Basically, he just goes in there and shotguns the living shit out of everyone. He jumps out the window and... It just jumps straight through it. Doesn't open it, just jumps straight through it. And Denzel Washington's already there, and he's aiming a gun at him, and I could just shoot you, and then I go off and do the paperwork, and then I'll be eating donuts, and I hate doing paperwork or something like that. It's kind of like the bubblegum thing from They Live. Everything seems to be okay. Denzel Washington seems to have the situation under control. Yeah. But then there's always the wild card, and in that situation, as in all situations, the wild card is a random woman just running into scene. And John Lithgow just grabs hold of her, and he points the shotgun at her chin, and he goes, "She's gonna need a paper bag for when her boyfriend fucks her remains."
It's just his character. We know nothing about the guy really. Ultimately, despite how much time he spent.
I know. What was he doing there? I don't know.
He's just unnecessarily cruel, and that's his entire whole character. Like, he's just a perfect, shitheel villain. It just he just exists just to cause pain.
Yeah, because you told me about the plot of this film, and I thought
it was vaguely.
Yeah, you told me it was basically just Denzel Washington versus John Lithgow, and I was like, I'm sold. That's it. That's all you had to give me. I was sold.
I know. I don't know how I didn't remember a lot about this film.
Denzel Washington just starts stripping. Like, he just starts taking off all his clothes and strips down to his boxers. He's like, look, see, I don't have anything on me. And then, he drops the gun. He whips out this fucking tiny pistol from his jock strap. And he doesn't even pull it out in front of him like normally. He like takes it out from behind and shoots around his own back like a trick shot, and takes down John Lithgow. Him and Kevin Pollak have suddenly been promoted to detective because apparently
catapulted to just
apparently all you have to do is strip naked in front of a psychopath and then shoot him with your derringer pistol, and you'll get promoted to detective.
So yeah, was it the woman, like the chief or whoever she was? It was her who did that, or
I believe so. Yeah, I think she probably did it.
She's horny for him.
Oh, she was definitely horny for him. She just walks into the locker room with Denzel Washington just stark naked.
I mean, that's a man at the height of his powers there.
I know. You look at him, it's like, man, oh my God, I wanted to fuck him.
That's the thing. I was impressed.
In the meantime, John Lithgow is lying in the prison hospital. He ends up talking to this fucking midget book guy. You know the guy. It's like fucking Books from Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, it's bizarre. you compare him to Shawshank Redemption. He does look oddly out of time, doesn't he?
But then it cuts to years later. Denzel Washington is like the biggest hotshot there is. He's the assistant district attorney.
The DA.
He's the assistant DA. He's got a family. He's got like 2 little girls, and he's an ace attorney. And by ace attorney, I mean he wins cases through utter bollocks.
Yes.
Like he just stands up there and gives a speech which has no evidence in it whatsoever.
Yeah, he has this like almost like Robin Williams like inspirational yet comical moment. Like this is like Dead Poet Society or something.
Yeah, I know.
Or Good Will Hunting.
It was just strange, and there was no evidence being presented whatsoever. He was just kind of. It was like the Chewbacca defense. It's like, here is Chewbacca, except more inspirational, I suppose. Yeah. So meanwhile, John Lithgow's character is in, he's been shifted to another jail, I think, because he's just too much crazy for any one particular jail to handle. And in this case, he ends up being cellmates with Jesse the Body Ventura. So, like, you've got the Aryan Brotherhood in the jail. There's no guards around, and they've taped, like, phone books to themselves like armor. And they have these spears or whatever that they've made out of something, and they just start having a massive fucking fight.
You gotta find like someone like women in prison and give an example of something lame, and then men in prison.
So he kills Jesse the Body Ventura, and ends up getting in good with the Aryan Brotherhood. You know, that's my rap album. Getting in good with the Aryan Brotherhood.
Getting in good with the Aryan Brotherhood.
Yeah, it's a collaboration with Ice-T.
Ice-T, you know.
Well, no, that's it's the white rapper version. It's Milky Tea.
Oval tea.
Oval. You're just seeing like Denzel Washington. He's just got a great life. He's an ace attorney. He's a philanthropist because and he's also he's an fucking man of action philanthropist because at one point, right, Denzel Washington goes to Black People Avenue. The place where all the ghettos are, where you just walk into a bombed out tenement building and there's just black people lining the hallways. Yeah. But Denzel Washington goes to Black People Avenue and he rips a crack pipe out of some kid's face, and then he goes to see Ice-T, who plays Odessa. He basically goes up to his pimp pad, where there's just like a bunch of gangsters. Again, it's all bombed out. Like, it looks like a shithole.
It's like the opening of like Demolition Man. It's like where
it looks like that.
Simon Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like Simon Phoenix's pad, and there's a bunch of just whores sitting around, including a random white one. I guess they needed the diversity. Denzel Washington's like, right, you don't peddle drugs to the kids down at this place, and da da da, and Ice-T's like, fuck you, nigga, and everyone like points their guns at him. And then Denzel Washington pulls out a fucking grenade. Except afterwards, it turns out it was just a lighter. Yeah, that's always fucking
genius, really.
Just genius. Again, John Lithgow gets all the best lines in this film.
Yeah.
And one of the best lines he gets is right before he goes to his parole hearing. And it's when a guard shows up. He's looking at he's combing his hair in the mirror. And the guard comes up and he's like, parole board's ready, and I hope you flossed your teeth. And John Lithgow just turns and he says it in just such a matter-of-fact way. It's so perfect, the delivery. Just, I already did, with your wife's pubic hair.
With your wife's pubic hair. Voice.
It's so perfect. He goes to his parole meeting, and right outside, there's a bunch of prisoners doing some renovation on the inside of the corridor. And of course, one of them has a buzzsaw, which the camera automatically focuses on.
Yeah. So
it's gonna, something's gonna happen with that buzzsaw. The other dude has a massive drill. This doesn't seem like a good idea. So John Lithgow sits in the parole room. And again, just another fantastic line from John Lithgow. One of the parole people says, "What do you think you'll do once you leave prison?" And John Lithgow says, "Well, I was thinking I would pay you a visit to thank me, of course." And John Lithgow goes, "No, I was thinking more I would fuck your wife and your daughter. Hell, maybe even your dog." I don't know. He uses like a weird blowgun or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, and to kill the main parole guy, and then of course the fucking guards outside get carved up by the dudes with the carpentry tools. John Lithgow gets hold of a gun, and he's like, "The last time I held a gun in these hands, a young man took all his clothes off for me, and now it's your turn." So they do. They take all their clothes off, and they dress themselves up as the parole people. And of course, they just get let out the front door. Like, the guards don't even think, these people don't look like the people that came in. Fuck it.
People, huh?
But John Lithgow couldn't help himself. He just had to shoot Brooks from fucking Shawshank Redemption right outside the jail.
He's just going, hello.
Oh, there, you remember me? Boom, boom.
Oh.
He just hated him that much. And then they fucked off in the book van, and then and they've got the Alien Brotherhood guy with them. And originally they were going to have some kind of plan, but then they shotgun that guy in the face, and then they push the van with his body in it off a cliff, and it immediately explodes. I mean, I think they put something in it to make it explode, but it just immediately explodes the moment it catches air.
That was one of the Viking funerals.
It's like, mate, I don't think that's how Viking funerals work.
No, like, Viking times, like, it was just basically a Ricochet. It was just the world. That's how the world just looked.
Ricochet, the great Viking bard.
Ricochet. Ricochet. I'm trying to do a boy accent. Viking.
So again, of course, you know that the film you're dealing with is like an undisputed classic.
Oh yeah.
When the villain in question is a master of disguise. What ends up happening is you got fucking Denzel Washington's dad, played by John Amos, and he's involved in like all the philanthropy, and they're doing one of those TV specials where they're trying to get people to call in and donate money to some vague Save the Children's bullshit. His kids are at home with a babysitter, and the power goes out, and of course, the power's gone out because John Lithgow's been working his scallywaggery. We get a knock at the door. There's John Lithgow, and he's pretending to be the power guy. And he's real. And this is the point where the film kind of starts to get scary.
Oh yeah, no, it completely almost changes genre. Like I said, like it just becomes like a Wolfgang Peterson. It's just like all the presidents. There's not all the presidents.
I was thinking.
Underline of Fire.
Yeah, like in Line of Fire, but I was thinking more like Cape Fear.
Cape Fear, yeah.
It's got a Cape Fear vibe to it, especially in those bits.
Yeah, it's just like all these 90s thriller. Yeah.
And it's well directed as well. So like it's
weird that the film just kind of drops away from this clown lunacy that was the beginning.
Yeah.
And don't worry, folks, it comes back.
Oh, it definitely comes. It comes back with a vengeance.
Fucking more double.
Yeah, it comes back once. But look, it doesn't matter because the film gets genuinely scary.
Yeah.
And when you think he's going to do something to his kids, and he drugs the babysitter, and Denzel Washington's friend. Like, he just has a fucking briefcase filled with the money, and he's just walking around by himself. And John Lithgow fucking chloroforms him, and they And they kill him. They hang him from a ceiling in an office, dressed like fucking Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
And his suitcase it doesn't have any money anymore, but it has child pornography, and it also has a suicide note, which implies some jiggery pokery going on in Florida with some children. So it's suggested that like Denzel Washington was involved in some kind of child abuse in Florida. Again, it gets like fucked up.
It is messed up.
It gets really messed up, the stuff that John Lithgow does to Denzel Washington. I mean, eventually it gets to the point where Denzel Washington has been kidnapped by John Lithgow and fucking bargain bin John Leguizamo, and then they slam drugs into his vein. There's this great scene where they're doing an arm wrestle with each other, and they're just talking to each other. It's like it's like a proper like face-off scene and everything. But then they end up slamming some fucking heroin in Denzel Washington, at which point they tie him to a bed, and then they get a hooker to come in and fuck him on camera.
Yeah. This is the thing I remember. I remember it being funnier than actually what. Like it's pretty distressing.
Yeah,
it's more the location around. She's just walking down this slope. It's just like the way the place looks. The world's sexiest yet most evil, like immoral prostitute.
I'd let her ride me. You know?
I just wouldn't let her ruin my life.
I wouldn't let her ruin my life. But. Yeah, so
I shoot her dead, Glenn. I shoot her dead.
Well, afterwards. After. He dumps Denzel Washington out in the street like he's a homeless man, in amongst a bunch of homeless people, and then like at this point, everyone, including like this defense lawyer who has obviously got it in for Denzel Washington because he, you know, I don't know, I kind of feel sorry for him because he's standing in the background going like he won his case from that fucking stupid Robin Williams bullshit and I had all the evidence, or you know, he really wants to fuck over Denzel Washington, so he's just like oh yeah, sure, there's people kidnapped you and stuck drugs in your veins, and then they hired a prostitute to fuck you and give you gonorrhea, because that's what happens, he gets gonorrhea. But it gets worse. John Lithgow, he sends a videotape to Denzel Washington. And Denzel Washington is sitting there in this fucking pink bathrobe, and he sits there watching this videotape that John Lithgow has sent him. And again, it's one of those bits that's genuinely creepy, where John Lithgow, you know, he's filming himself walking up the stairs in his house, and then going into his children's bedroom, and he whiffs this hatchet over his children's heads. And then he just kind of points at the camera and then shuts it off. And then, so Denzel Washington gets his old service pistol out. He fucking runs out into the street wearing nothing but boxers and a pink nightgown. Runs off down the street. He ends up pointing a gun at a clown in front of a bunch of children. And we're sitting there going, no! Like there was clowns at the start of this film as well.
There was
and then there was a clown later. You know, it's this movie is clown shoes, quite literally. So, you know, of course, everyone is like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You just pointed a gun at a clown in front of a bunch of children, you maniac!" And he's like, nah, here's the proof, and he takes the videotape, which he thinks is the one of John Lithgow holding a hatchet over his children's heads, but it's not. It's the one where he's getting fucked by a prostitute while stoned off his head on fucking heroin, and he's sitting there like, and he starts doing this like sort of jabbering, where he's just like, no, like it did happen, but it wasn't me. Like I was, and it's funny, but again, it's tragic, and you're trying like
man's life falling apart because of this one guy.
And Denzel Washington's genuinely good. He's doing a genuinely good job. You know, it's weird how it manages to straddle that line between being funny but also really distressing. So Denzel Washington does what any of us would have done. He consults Ice-T.
What you want? What?
Look, I got a problem.
Saying, brother.
You know, I just imagine Ice-T's like the Godfather. You know, you just go to him. It's like, you know, Mr. Ice-T, I have a problem. John Lithgow is coming after me.
Shit, why didn't you say so?
I just say so, my
I
nigga.
say so, my nigga. We come
You know,
around, come around.
shit, you know, when I was
See
on
what
the
we can,
street.
you come around and see what we can do, yeah.
Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying?
See,
You know what I'm saying?
no,
You
I'm
know
saying,
what I'm saying?
no.
You know what I'm saying? Oh wait, before we get into that, we forgot about the fucking Nazi guy.
Yes.
We forgot about because remember the idea was that John Lithgow was supposed to be meeting up with like the Aryan Brotherhood guy later, but he ended up shotgunning him in the face.
Yeah.
So Kevin Pollak does a bunch of detective work in the background so that the plot can move forward. And he doesn't do much else in the film other than just generally be
The
likable.
film does a total lot of stuff about the plot.
And be he's just generally likable, and also he's going to die. So he ends up figuring out that was what was supposed to happen. So they go to this bookshop, which is a front for the Aryan Brotherhood, and there's this guy who's basically the guy from Falling Down. He has a fucking portrait of Hitler on the wall. He's got the swastikas and the fucking Ku Klux Klan. I don't know, like it's this guy who's never existed, basically, and
which works perfectly well in this world that has never existed.
Yeah.
This is the kind of film where you can put a guy like that in.
Yeah, and Denzel Washington beats the shit out of him, but then fucking John Leguizamo shows up. It's not really John Leguizamo, remember? And so they chase him down an alleyway, and John Lithgow shoots Kevin Pollak multiple times. He throws the gun at Denzel Washington, and what does Denzel Washington do? He catches the fucking thing. And then Kevin Pollak has one of the best death lines ever. He's like, "I guess you were right about Blake being alive. Because if he wasn't, how could he have killed me?" And he dies.
What the hell was that?
What was that? Yeah, so at this point, like, Denzel Washington's life is in a complete shambles. So he just leaves his friend's body in the middle of that rainy alleyway. He's just like, fuck this shit. I'm going to get on top of a building and start ranting about how, yes, I am indeed the leader of a child pornography ring. Yeah, he's got a megaphone and everything. And this is just the best plan.
And he doing lipstick around his face. It just makes
Yeah, he's turning into Joker.
Yeah.
One bad day, man. One bad day. And John Lithgow's like, no, you can't do that. You gotta live! And he goes out to the scene and he just walks out and he's like, you gotta live, you gotta suffer! They've set up this building filled with explosives. And he throws a flare in there, causing the building to blow up. But of course, the way that Denzel Washington escapes...
Fucking crap. This is one of the things I remembered. I could not believe it. You can't believe it when you see it. He throws the flare, sets off the charges, like everything gets ready to blow up, and he jumps down like a pipe, like Mario.
It's like a garbage chute.
Yeah, garbage
thing.
chute. Like goes bloop bloop bloop, and he jumps down Mario style, like the pipe. It's just when you see him go down, it's just his tall body going.
John Lithgow's like, no!
Then go boom, boom, and he gets a phone call from one of the brothers.
From one of Ice-T's dudes.
Get on the phone.
Yeah, it's like, you gotta come out to this fucking place, this fucking action set piece we got going on. Know what I'm saying? And so they go out, and so John Lithgow goes out. His little sidekick is strapped to the side of this fucking scaffolding, and then he shoots him because he mouths off at him. I kissed your ass for years, and you're such a fucking asshole, or something like that.
And you're surprised that he was such an asshole,
yeah.
which is well, there you go. You've earned your death for that. I mean.
So John Lithgow ends up climbing up the side of this electrical tower to have a fight with Denzel Washington, who by this point has gone completely apeshit.
Yeah, because he like at the start he's just like projecting his voice around everywhere somehow. I don't know how he did it. He's just like trying to disorientate him. This is like a Batman fight, and then basically they have a big fight. They're like climbing about, and then like Denzel Washington's like swinging about everywhere. It makes no sense, obviously, but what's new? But so
he's swinging around having a fight with John Lithgow where they're just yelling shit at each other, and then Ice-T sticks like a fucking sticks like a pair of electrical clamps on the side of the tower and electrocutes John Lithgow, and John Lithgow just gets electrocuted off of the tower and lands on a spike that's conveniently there. And the ending, of course, is glorious. Because not only does, of course, is everyone believes him now, including the fake news media. The fucking News 11 is there. John Lithgow is hanging off a fucking pike. Bargain basement John Leguizamo is hanging like Jesus off the side of the scaffolding. Gale is talking about it. Well, it turns out that this was all just bullshit. It was orchestrated by the media and the blah blah blah. And it's totally fine. Don't hate us or anything. And Denzel Washington just goes up and he's like, "Kiss my ass, Gale," and then a bullet flies at the screen, and there's the end credits, and it's a fucking rap song to play us out. This film was absolute derangement. It's so good.
It's so much better than I remembered it.
I was just completely ending myself, dude. Just like there were, you remember, I was just like. Like, my jaw was on the floor, my hands up to my face. I loved this film, and yeah, look, I cannot recommend this more. Like,
yes,
you can get a copy of this. Oh, just get some friends around. It's so good. I highly recommend it. It is a top tier idiot movie. What's your final words on that?
5 out of 5 idiot rating.
Would laugh my balls off again.
Laugh my balls off again.
Again and again and again.
Would taunt my nemesis on a building after you ruined my life.
Would threaten to fuck the parole officer's wife and daughter and dog again. Anyways, this has been the inaugural outing into Idiot Movie Valhalla.
This is a good opening.
This is a great opening, yeah. I am your host, the indestructible Deadeye, and this is the handsome and sexy Mr. Christopher Baird. Say bye to the people.
Goodbye, everybody.
And may you ride the night to the morning sun.
That's just going to do for every single one.